Good evening, hello and welcome. You're watching Plain Speak. I'm Anusha Soni. The battle of Madhya Pradesh is indeed the battle of prestige, both for BJP and for the Congress party. Shivraj Singh Chouhan and BJP are fighting to retain power in Madhya Pradesh. The Congress seems pretty confident of defeating the BJP. Religion, caste, freebies and the women voters are the key fulcrum on which the elections are going to be decided. It's a close contest by all accounts, in every sense of the word. One of the oldest turfs of the Sangh Parivar, a state that the BJP won on the issue of Bijli Sadak in Pani. Will the Modi factor defeat the strong anti-incumbency? Has the Congress party got its caste calculations right? Will the Dalit factor be a decisive one to watch out for? Prime Minister is also holding a mega roadshow in the city of Indore. Let's begin by talking about the key issues that dominate the poll-bound state of Madhya Pradesh, that dominate the political discourse in the poll-bound state of Madhya Pradesh. Let me take you through the demography of Madhya Pradesh. What exactly does it really look like? Hindus constitute about 90.9% of the population. Largely a Hindu population but divided on caste lines. Muslims only about 6.6% of Madhya Pradesh population and predominantly a very strong Shia population and other minority communities within the Muslim population which are a resident of Madhya Pradesh. Muslim MLAs never exceeded the 1956 figure of 10 MLAs if you talk about the number of minority MLAs who are there. And if you talk about further factors, which is the Muslims have influence on just about 12 seats out of the 230 seats. That's why in Madhya Pradesh, historically, the politics of Hindutva, the politics of Sangh Parivar has always been a very, very important factor. This is one factor that one needs to talk about. The SC population in Madhya Pradesh, Sant Ravidas followers are the largest chunk. There are about 3 to 5 seats where the SC population has a huge sway. And it is believed that parties like BSP are trying to make inroads into these particular seats where traditionally the BJP and Congress are weak. 35 out of the 230 seats are reserved for the scheduled caste. And on these seats, the BJP, Congress field their candidates from this particular community. The key issues on which the battle for Madhya Pradesh is going to be fought for. Number one, the women and the tribal vote bank. Well, in the last 5 years, if there's one vote bank on which Prime Minister Modi has perhaps laid a lot of emphasis on, that's the women vote bank. Whether it's the state of Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, and who can forget the tribal population, which is a very decisive one in a state like Madhya Pradesh. Farm loan waivers, largely an agrarian economy where farm loan waivers have a huge role to play. And this, of course, is the promise of the Congress and the BJP. And if you talk about the vote bank, which has been one of the key things, the tribal vote bank is crucial. The freebies promises by the Congress and the BJP is something that is going to appeal to everyone, including the tribals that account for over 21% of the state population. The Modi factor versus the anti-incumbency. Prime Minister Modi and his brand has always been very important, especially in the Hindi heartland. Here you might not have a regional satrap who could win elections, but Prime Minister and his name can sway. The Hindutva and the OBC factor, OBC that contribute a substantial chunk of population within the Hindu vote bank. If you talk about Babulal Gaur, if you talk about other key names that have been fielded by BJP earlier as chief ministers, indeed OBC factor is a very important one, and that is why you have had Rahul Gandhi and various other leaders talk about the fact that in women reservation you have not given OBC the kind of reservation they deserve. But anti-incumbency on which Congress is pinning its so much hopes on, will the Modi factor defeat or trump the anti-incumbency in the state of Madhya Pradesh? That's the key question we ask here on Plain Speak tonight.
आपको याद रखना है, कांग्रेस का पंजा छीनना जानता है, लूटना जानता है। जहां जहां कांग्रेस आई तबाही लाई।
Hello, Moto.
Well, let's talk about this interesting battle of the state of Madhya Pradesh and what it holds for the Congress and the BJP. Can BJP come back to power? Have they delivered to the people of Madhya Pradesh? Has Congress party really got its calculation right? Or are they being overconfident? How crucial will the Dalit and OBC factor really be? And the strong Hindutva pitch by none other than the top brass of the BJP and the campaign which is being led by Prime Minister, will it consolidate the Hindu vote bank in favor of the BJP? Once again redefining the political grammar like it has been done in many states, in the state of Madhya Pradesh as well. We'll cut across to the rally of the Prime Minister as well in the city of Indore, where huge and massive preparations have been made. Joining us on the broadcast, Mr. Tom Varakan of the BJP. We also have Mr. Mithun Ahirwar of the Congress Party. PKD Nambiar, who's a political analyst, and Sanjeev Srivastav, who's a senior journalist, is joining us on the broadcast. We'll also get my colleagues who are tracking all the developments here on the broadcast in just a few minutes from now. But Mr. Varakan, most accounts, most journalistic accounts, special coverage accounts, especially here on CNN News 18, we have had our colleagues who have traveled extensively to the state. They say it's a very close contest. It is not a state which is going to be easy either for the Congress or for the BJP. Why do you think that people will vote for the BJP yet again?
Well, before every election, it's always been a close fight, and we have fought and we have won. That's the confidence level we are getting from our karyakartas. We do not go by media reports. We have our own surveys done, and we have a standing report of what we have done. This double engine sarkar that has been working. What people do not realize that a constituency across the country is developing, who are the beneficiaries. Now these beneficiaries cut across gender, it cuts across caste, it cuts across religion, and this constituency is always there with Modi ji wherever he goes. And what you're going to see now on television, you have not screened it yet, the kind of reception he gets because the service is done. And it's not just guarantees and promises which evaporate before boiling. We have seen Karnataka. You have seen other states where promises are made, guarantees are said, but nothing happens. You have a general secretary coming and making a speech saying GST is being charged on petroleum products. Now the point is, you don't do your homework, you do not know the reality, what is happening in each state, and you fly in from Delhi, go to Bhopal, make other places, and make speeches which do not relate. So please do your homework, understand what is the ground reality. Elections are there for those who fight, and we are ready to fight, and we will win.
Mr. Varakan, you talk about the delivery of promises that has been done, and of course there are various schemes of the central government that have been successful. My colleague Aman Sharma is also joining us on the broadcast. But before I go to Aman, I want to bring in Mr. Mithun Ahirwar also into the discussion. Mithunji, the key question for the Congress party is that yes, you have promised a lot of schemes. There is a strong pitch that Kamal Nath has made in the state of Madhya Pradesh, but it's a close contest. There is also the factor of Prime Minister Modi, which is important in the Hindi heartland. It is known that he can sway votes in one way or another, and mostly to the favor of the BJP. And the fact that he's campaigning aggressively in the last leg of the poll campaign could be a decisive one. Why do you think Congress would come back to power?
I think it is a misconception that Modi ji can turn elections. If that was the case, BJP would have won 2018 also. But they lost badly because at that time they were relying on their promises about this double engine sarkar. And it is really very interesting when we hear people like Mr. Tom Varakan, who talks about promises and forgets the promise of 15 lakhs, forgets the promise of doubling the farmers' income in 2022, forgets the promise of making Bharat Vishwa Guru in 2020. Let's come to Madhya Pradesh. Modi ji is irrelevant in Madhya Pradesh. Not just the people of Madhya Pradesh are saying that, but also the BJP leaders by their actions are proving it. Modi ji, the last time he was in Madhya Pradesh, he said we have a standard price for petrol in all the states that the BJP rules In Bhopal, it is 108, sir. Shivraj Singh ji ensures that whatever Modi ji says, he does the opposite.
Yeah.
Modi ji had promised in 2020 farmers' income will be doubled. In Madhya Pradesh, he said that I'm yet to do it. And Shivraj Singh ji says we have already done that in Madhya Pradesh, though the national income is less than the national average for Madhya Pradesh in terms of agriculture income. When you talk about LPG cylinders being given for 450 rupees, when Shivraj Chouhan ji announces it for 450 rupees, Modi ji decreases another 300 rupees. Nobody gets it for 150 rupees. That's the kind of protest that these people have in Madhya Pradesh for Modi ji. Modi ji says that we do not believe in reverie culture. Shivraj Singh ji announces 1250 rupees for the winner. I'm talking about a state which ranks in number one in malnutrition, which ranks number one in tribal atrocities, which ranks number one in Dalit atrocities, going by the per lakh population. We have a state which is in a critical state in terms of unemployment. We have about 4 million unemployed people registered here and unregistered 10 million people here. We talk about a state in which we all have seen video.
Yes.
Yes.
So I believe the larger question that you've raised here is of development. And I believe the Congress party, has all the right to say that as an opposition player. But I'm sure the BJP has its own side too. But Aman, I want to come back to you. There is no singular issue that is dominating the electoral discourse in the state of Madhya Pradesh. Multiple issues, whether it's the women voters, the rights of tribals, unemployment, farm loan waivers. And if this election is anyway comparable to other states, there is no singular wave of any kind of narrative which is driving the polls. Advantage BJP or disadvantage?
Well, Anusha, I would say that it's a very, very tight election. It was very tight in 2018 also. There was just a 0.3% vote difference between both the parties. This time, obviously, there's an 18-year long government of Shivraj Singh Chouhan, almost a decade if you take out 15 months of Kamal Nath's tenure. So obviously, there is anti-incumbency. There is a bit of fatigue with Mr. Shivraj Singh Chouhan's face. That is what we found in the travels during Madhya Pradesh for almost 2 weeks earlier. But this fatigue for Shivraj Singh Chouhan is also being blunted in a big way by this very popular Mukhyamantri Ladli Behna Yojana. You know, we went to villages and this scheme has been able to penetrate, go to every household. Women have actually got this money. They've got 6 installments so far. So women, which were traditionally, the backers of the BJP, are even more solidifying behind the BJP. That's what I felt during my travels.
Okay.
On the other hand, I think the Congress is pitching this election totally on the issue of unemployment and corruption. If you listen to Mr. Kamal Nath speaking, he says these are the 2 big issues in this election, that there are complaints amongst the people of corruption at lower levels on the Shivraj government. This is something we also heard from people. And there is this widespread problem that there are no jobs in Madhya Pradesh.
Yeah.
So this is what Kamal Nath is promising. Also this freebie war. So now which side will the people believe on the freebies? Congress is offering these 11 guarantees. As the Congress spokesperson was just saying, that 1500 rupees for women, a gas cylinder at rupees 500, a monthly pension for the old people at old aged at 1500 rupees, various other school dole for even school children for 500 rupees, 1500 rupees per month. On the other hand, you have BJP already giving this women's scheme. It is promising other freebies. It is promising a cylinder at rupees 450. So the voter seemed a bit conflicted between these both sides of freebies. And I think the Prime Minister's campaign in the last 1 week, Anusha, the Prime Minister has done over a dozen rallies in Madhya Pradesh. He's doing this massive roadshow in Indore now. So this is the push I think the BJP is looking at to just get an edge ahead of the Congress in the final stages of the election. But I believe it's a very tight election and we will only know on December 3rd who has the real edge here.
Absolutely. 0.3%. That's a very small margin, as you pointed out. Aman, one more factor I want you to talk about so that I can take it to Mr. PKD Nambiar and Mr. Sanjeev Srivastava as well. The OBC factor, that particular vote bank, versus the Hindutva card, which has traditionally belonged to the BJP. There's a certain degree of caste consolidation that the BJP expects that will happen in their favor. And the Congress party has traditionally reached out to OBC, which form the predominant caste in the state of Madhya Pradesh, or at least the caste which needs to vote in your favor for you to form the next government. How have these caste and religion factors really played out so far?
Has always been about the OBC voters. But one should remind oneself that the last 3 CMs of the BJP start with Uma Bharti, then Babulal Gaur, and Shivraj Singh Chouhan have all been OBC chief ministers. So though the Congress is promising a caste census, it is playing this OBC card, I don't know how much far that is traveling, because the BJP is already saying clearly that, look, our last 3 CMs are all OBCs. Which OBC did the Congress ever make as the chief minister of Madhya Pradesh? So I don't think that card is traveling too far. What is traveling, I think, for the Congress, what is going is these 11 guarantees that the Congress has offered, and because they offered them a bit early in the campaign, so they have also been, the people seem to be well aware of the promises that the Congress is making. Obviously, this card by Kamal Nath, that his government was unfairly and thrown out of power in 2020 after just 15 months.
Yeah.
That sympathy factor which Kamal Nath is trying to build on, I think that is what is working for the Congress. But for the BJP, I think the strongest point is this, that they have not projected anybody as the CM face.
They have not projected anybody as the CM face, and the fact that they have not batted for Shivraj Singh Chouhan is a statement in itself. Aman, please stay with us on the broadcast. Mr. Sanjeev Srivastav, the anti-incumbency is very real. One can't deny that fact, and that's one reason that BJP has so far not projected a chief minister face, which is very different from what you saw in a state like Karnataka, for example. The recently concluded elections, where BJP had thrown in their weight behind a chief ministerial face and said that, look, this is the person who's going to lead our campaign. But that is not the case in state of Madhya Pradesh, and that's a statement in itself.
Very good evening, Anusha and my fellow panelists, and wishing viewers happy Diwali. It's just 36 hours old.
Yes.
See, the big question which you are actually analyzing is the Prime Minister's appeal and whether he can change the election. And so I have a couple of points to make. There is no doubt that the Prime Minister is an X factor in Indian polity today. But the limits of those X factor have been set in the last couple of years. So the X factor works more in North, less in South. The X factor works more when he is pitching for a party which is taking on an incumbent, and less when he is defending anti-incumbency. We have seen that in Himachal and Karnataka. And the X factor works more in the national elections and less in the Vidhan Sabha elections. So some limits have been set on the X factor. While he definitely gets extra votes, but the number of votes which he gets limited by all these 3 things, whether he is defending anti-incumbency or trying to combat it, North or South, Vidhan Sabha and Lok Sabha. So that's why I think that Prime Minister Modi doesn't become a game changer. He becomes an X factor, an important player. But in Vidhan Sabha elections, it is the state issues, state leaders, faces of the state, and therein lies the problem. While you were mentioning about Karnataka, they actually did not project Bommai.
Yeah.
Bommai was a sitting chief minister, but his name was not projected as a potential chief minister. Himachal, I am not very sure now. I don't think they were projecting the CM as a CM face, but I would be corrected on that if I am not correct. In Rajasthan, again, they are not projecting anyone. In MP, they are not projecting anyone. So while Aman's comments were making a lot of sense, but there's also a contradiction. How can you have a chief minister against whom there is a definite anti-incumbency which you could feel, and still Ladli Behan Yojana was making a lot of impact? So technically it may be true, but there are just so many contradictions.
I agree there are contradictions, and I believe those contradictions define the complex nature of Indian politics to the extent that you might want to keep the good parts of something and not really own up to the others. Just one point I want to make our viewers, the visuals on your screen, viewers, live from the city of Indore in Madhya Pradesh. We'll cut across to live visuals in just a bit. The Prime Minister is expected to arrive, but we were showing you those visuals just some time ago where the party workers had gathered in huge numbers. There's a stretch of about 1.5 to 2 kilometers which is completely jam-packed. There are heavy security arrangements that have been made, and this is the statement that the Prime Minister makes in the commercial capital of Madhya Pradesh, Indore, one of the biggest cities, known for its bustling life and bustling industry, and a hub for education, business, industry, one of the cleanest cities in the country. That's on display right now, and those preparations, we'll await for more visuals to come out right now. I believe these are live visuals coming in from Indore. You can see the workers who are gathered there in huge numbers. I want to cut across to Mr. PKD Nambiar as well. Mr. Nambiar, talking about the freebies or the Ladli Behan Yojana, multiple Yojanas and the schemes that have been spoken of both by the Congress and the BJP. I believe one very heartening factor in Indian democracy in the last 5 years that I've only seen develop progressively is the consolidation of the women vote bank. Women are voting far more independently, the direct benefits which are given to them by various state governments, and the BJP making a huge pitch that, look, if you give the money in the hand of a women head of the family, it will reach the people. And somehow that narrative has found resonance in states like Bihar, in states like Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. Mr. Nambiar, do you think it's going to work?
It will. In fact, as you said rightly, that in many states, if you really look at it, the percentage of the voters were more than the men. The women are the high numbers. I think if this trend is continuing, and of course every political party will try to get into that area and and with 33% now going to be maybe by another 4 or 5 years time, the reservation for the women. I think there is a lot on that part is going to take place for every political party.
Yeah.
So, but one thing I'll tell you. In fact, I was also in Indore and Bhopal and some of the places, Gwalior.
Huh.
But one thing I have realized that it is the sample which whether it is an Aman or any other people in the television studio, the two tiny samples cannot be defined an election of such a large state.
No, Mr. Nambiar, I agree with you that, journalistic accounts are largely anecdotal. And journalistic accounts give you a wider perception of what exists on the ground. The last word is always what a voter does when he goes or she goes and exercises their right to vote. I'll come back to this discussion. We'll talk more about this close contest and how critical can the Dalit vote bank really be? And can there be smaller parties, independents, or the factor called BSP that could be very decisive? Before that, my colleague Manoj Sharma has spoken to some people in Indore right now. Let's listen into those voices.
भगवा कॉरिडोर बोल रहे हैं।
बिल्कुल, आज भगवा में हो गया है पूरा इंदौर। भगवा कॉरिडोर भी यहाँ बनाया है। मोदी जी के स्वागत में तो पूरा हिंदुस्तान भगवा हो रहा है।
अगर 4 दिन का भी टाइम रहता तो हम 4 दिन से भी यहाँ पे खड़े हो सकते हैं।
4 दिन खड़े रहते,
बराबर खड़े रहेंगे, बराबर खड़े रहेंगे।
अच्छा,
4 दिन।
तो 17 तारीख को तो वोटिंग ही हो जाएगी।
हाँ, तो हम वोट डालने के बाद भी खड़े रहने को बोलोगे तो रह जाएंगे। भाई 1 साल में 1 बार देता है और वो भाई इसमें का है कि हर महीने देता है, तो जनता उसके साथ में, और जो जनता मांग रही है वो तो उसके बिना बोले सब कुछ दे रहा है, तो क्यों नहीं होगा उससे?
हमारे जो बालक है वो पढ़ाई के लिए पैसा मिल रहा है, सब कुछ मिल रहा है, पर हमको उसके अलावा और क्या चीज है?
लेकिन लाडले भाइयों का ख्याल कुछ कम रखा जा रहा है।
देश आगे बढ़ रहा है मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में। आज विश्व में विश्व गुरु हो गए अपन। हर एक आदमी अपन को पूज रहा। पहले मोदी जी, उसके बाद दूसरे देश के लोग आते हैं। पहले मोदी जी अपने इतना बड़ा G20 सम्मेलन कराया।
माता बहनों की रक्षा हो रही, बेटियों उनको भी किसी बात की समस्या नहीं, खुला आम पढ़ने जा रही है पहले से, और हमको सारी चीज की मदद मिल रही है।
Well, you heard the party workers there. Coming back to the discussion, Aman, coming back to you. When it's a close contest, the independents or smaller parties in the state of Madhya Pradesh, say for example BSP or other parties that cater to the Dalit vote bank, become very important. They also play the role of kingmakers, unfortunately, in Indian politics, and become disproportionately important in the formation of the government when it comes to the number game. Are there smaller players, independents, to watch out for?
Absolutely. I think BSP and independents are to be watched out for in Madhya Pradesh. BSP especially in Morena, Bhind, Bundelkhand areas bordering UP where there are BSP candidates fighting. The buzz is that the BSP could win 2 to 3 to 4 seats maybe in MP. Some independents also in the fight who stand maybe a good chance, a couple of independents. But Anusha, coming to Indore first.
Sure.
So Indore is the PM's roadshow in Indore. Indore is a very crucial center. So 2018, I remember Rahul Gandhi taking out a huge roadshow in Indore. Now we see Prime Minister Narendra Modi taking out this roadshow in Indore. Last week, it was Priyanka Gandhi who took out a roadshow in Indore. And the seats that Mr. Modi is passing through, it starts from Indore 1,
yes,
which is the seat of Kailash Vijayvargiya, where Kailash Vijayvargiya is in a very tough contest with BJP's Sanjay Shukla. And Priyanka Gandhi also campaigned for Sanjay Shukla last week. So Indore 1 is a key seat. And the other key seat, I think, is Jabalpur, which has also seen these competing road shows. So we had Rahul Gandhi doing a road show in Jabalpur last week. Yeah. And today, as we speak, Amit Shah is also doing a road show in Jabalpur. That is the seat of Congress's Tarun Bhanot versus BJP's MP, Mr. Rakesh Singh, who's also the former BJP president. So this competing nature of road shows and who makes a bigger statement, especially in Indore, determines a lot in the Madhya Pradesh election, and that is why I think the Prime Minister has chosen Indore to take out this road show today. It will cover 3 assembly constituencies, Indore 1, 2 and 4. So PM will be passing 2-kilometer stretch in all the 3 constituencies, but all eyes are on the big contest, Kailash Vijayvargiya versus Sanjay Shukla in Indore, Anusha.
Absolutely. Indore, Jabalpur, the key seats. There are key seats in these districts to watch out for. Mr. Tom Varakan, coming back to you. The point that was raised by the Congress spokesperson was that, okay, all right, you've promised these freebies or you're promising multiple schemes that the Chief Minister has spoken of. But when you look at various development indices or the malnutrition index or how the state is faring when it comes to tribal rights, the state of Madhya Pradesh is not one of the best performers. When it comes to crimes against women and the issue of malnutrition, the state has not historically done well, even under the BJP rule. Mr. Varakan.
Well, these are perceptions and these are statistics which I think are being put out by interested parties, be what it may. Development has come down to the grassroots level in the state of Madhya Pradesh. Because primarily you have a chief minister who is working 24/7. Now, as to the question of incumbency issue, we have sorted it out in different states. Now, as to the question of guarantees, you've seen an example in the state of Karnataka where it is falling apart. So you make these promises which cannot be delivered and you convert things like let me complete. In Karnataka, you have converted into an ATM and you know what Chhattisgarh is happening in Chhattisgarh, the Mahadev app and what have you. Now, this entire state of corruption is well known across the country. And women in particular have seen and suffered a variety of issues, whether it is Rajasthan or other states. This is essentially because of the kind of promises that they make. I'll tell you an example. They made promises to the farmers. It was the then chief minister. And then after that, 9 or 10 farmers were shot dead because they wanted to know where are the promises. And they were shot dead, and that is all dead and buried. These are the kind of promises they make. They make promises, and when there's a protest, they shoot these people down. And that is what Kamal Nath did. Can you deny that?
Mr. Mithun Airwar, while the Congress party claims that BJP is corrupt, there are multiple instances of corruption that happened during the earlier governments. It's being pointed out that during that brief stint of the government, there were various problematic issues that erupted. But this narrative that the Congress party is corrupt, something that was taken to town in the state of Chhattisgarh, do you believe it finds resonance in Madhya Pradesh as well, damaging your prospects in the state?
Well, talking about corruption, it is very interesting to see what BJP's ministers say about corruption in Madhya Pradesh. So their minister Mahendra Sisodia says, "Rishwat jo hai Bhagwan ko chadhane wala prasad." So it is coming from a cabinet minister of BJP. His double-engine sarkar, they claim to be a double-engine sarkar. Their MP, Mr. Janardhan Mishra, says that if you do a corruption of 15 lakh rupees, it is forgivable. So this is the kind of stance that they have against corruption. A spokesperson from BJP said that tribal atrocities, malnutrition, these are the perceptions made by interested parties. So, sir, this tribal atrocity, this data is put out by NCRB, which is under the Union Home Ministry. So, is Amit Shah ji the interested party who wishes to damage the image of your ruled state? I wish to tell it to you, sir. You were talking about shooting farmers. Kamal Nath ji never ordered any shooting of any farmer, but it was Shivraj Chouhan's government who shot dead 5 farmers in Morena. You must be aware of that fact. Instead, we waived off the loan of 2.7 million farmers in Madhya Pradesh. Your cabinet minister has given it in written in reply to a question in the state assembly. So we're talking of a state wherein you cannot address the farmers' problems, and their income problem, the unemployment problem, the inflation problem. So you bring in Mr. Modi, but Mr. Modi has failed in 2018.
Well,
This
sir,
time also he's going to fail.
the Modi factor and how critical it's going to be, we'll talk more about that. Right now on your screens, viewers, are the live images coming in from the city of Indore, one of the biggest cities in the state of Madhya Pradesh, the financial capital of the state, and more importantly, is a city, a very important contest that my colleague Aman was also talking about, a close contest between the Congress and the BJP on multiple seats. There are high-profile seats here that go to poll. Who wins Indore? Who wins Jabalpur? In the city of Bhopal, multiple cities which are going to be important power centers, but especially in Indore and Jabalpur, we have seen a contest of rally of sorts that has happened between the Congress and the BJP, and the Prime Minister holding this mega roadshow in Indore in the age of social media and televisions. It is likely to have a spillover effect. It does set a mood, a sentiment and tone as the campaigning is about to end in the next 24 to 48 hours. I want to cut across back to Aman, who's with us on the broadcast. Aman, the visuals of Prime Minister on the screen, it is indeed a very important close contest, as you've pointed out in most of your reportage that you've filed from ground zero. How critical or important the Modi factor will be? What does the history tell us?
Well, see, Anusha, went to a couple of Narendra Modi rallies in MP. I went to a rally in Guna especially, and there seems to be still that popularity of Mr. Modi is still very wide, especially I think amongst the women voters. You know, the women voters still repose their faith in Modi, and especially in MP, where the women have also traditionally backed the BJP, and Shivraj Singh Chouhan's first the Ladli Lakshmi scheme, which he started over a decade ago, and now especially this Ladli Behna scheme. So the woman voter, I think, is solidly behind the BJP as it was earlier, in maybe far greater measure now, because this money is now coming into their bank accounts. About the men voters, I think there is a bit of a divide. So, you know, men voters, I found, you know, many people saying that Behna ko paisa diya, par behnoi ka kya hoga? So the men voters saying that, you know, hame to kuch nahi mila. The women in the family are getting money directly from the chief minister, but the men are not getting much except the PM Kisan Nidhi money which comes to the farmers. So in a way, the men voters seemed a bit divided, but I think Mr. Modi's factor is also, if we see over a dozen rallies in the last 1 week, the BJP is very good at this. You know, in the last leg of the campaign, they put out their big star campaigner who will come, and he's covered in almost every region of MP with his rallies, and now with this roadshow in Indore is concluding his campaign today, the Prime Minister. So this is like the last push which BJP uses, you know, with Mr. Modi in that to get them past the finish line. So if it's a tight election, can he make that difference? And also this very unique strategy of the BJP this time to put up 7 MPs in the fight. So, you know, if he's one of those one of the senior leaders is Mr. Kailash Vijayvargiya, who's the party's national general secretary. So except one seat, except one MP, Mr. Prahlad Patel, rest all 6 seats where the MPs are fighting, BJP has not won them for like at least 1 or 2 terms. So the BJP is looking at, okay, can our MP win those 3-4 extra seats, which could prove to be crucial in the equation in a tight election. So I think BJP has thought a bit afar in this election. Congress was very, very confident till a month back, but now I think it's become a tight election with especially Mr. Modi's campaign. And as one of our panelists was saying, that the Modi card did not work so much for the BJP in Karnataka, you know, because it was the south. But in a Hindi heartland state like Madhya Pradesh, which the BJP in fact swept in the last Lok Sabha elections, except the seat of Chhindwara, I think the Modi card still is very, very much relevant and popular, and that is on show at the rally at this massive roadshow in Indore today. Anusha.
The massive roadshow in Indore. I mean, I also want to talk to you about the, the present Chief Minister, Mr. Shivraj Singh Chouhan. He is fondly called Mamaji. He's gone to his sisters, to the mothers, the women vote bank, and women voters, and said, look, you have to vote for me. I'm somebody who's always been there for you. But anecdotal accounts, journalistic evidence, and many experts who cover Madhya Pradesh will tell you that there is a strange sense of, a certain sense of lethargy, a certain sense of drag that has set in when it comes to Shivraj Singh Chouhan. The Congress party has made a lot of allegations of corruption against him. What has worked for him and against him? The fact that he's not outrightly the chief ministerial face is not something that has gone down well with him.
Yes, absolutely. I think Shivraj Singh Chouhan, no, Anusha, he's been there in power since like 2006. So, you know, many first-time voters in Madhya Pradesh have not seen any other chief minister than Shivraj Singh Chouhan. So there is this sense of fatigue. You know, I went to the ground and many people tell me that, you know, आदमी बहुत अच्छे हैं, but बस अब हम थोड़ा थक गए उनसे. So, you know, there is a keen urge amongst people for some freshness, a new face, you know, but Shivraj Singh Chouhan, mind you, has not given up. You know, I have seen him in the last, I think, 10 days. He's been doing 10 to 12 rallies daily. You know, look at that enthusiasm and the energy of the man. He's 64. He's doing rallies of these 20 minutes. He's literally running from the helicopter to the rally venue, making a speech for 20 minutes, getting into another rally venue, leaves at 9 a.m. in the morning, comes back at 11 or 12 in the night, you know, from his campaign. So Mr. Chouhan has put all his might into the campaign. I think he's also trying to prove a point to the top BJP leadership that, look, I am still your most popular leader in Madhya Pradesh. And in fact, when I interviewed Prahlad Patel and when I interviewed Jyotiraditya Scindia, both of them said the same thing, that the most popular leader of the BJP in Madhya Pradesh is Shivraj Singh Chouhan, without a doubt. Even Mr. Tomar told me that, Narendra Singh Tomar, in an interview. So there remains no doubt that he's the most popular leader, but can he deliver another election victory for the BJP? I think the BJP is not very sure about that. And I think they learned their lesson in 2018 when they fell just a bit short, because there was this sense of fatigue with Mr. Shivraj Singh Chouhan. But he again became the chief minister in 2020 in a very delicate situation when the BJP overthrew the Kamal Nath government. So this time I think BJP's deliberate strategy to not project anybody as the chief minister, Mr. Shivraj Singh Chouhan and the 7 other MPs, you know, anybody of them could be a CM face, and everybody's been put in the MLA election with that very idea.
Yeah, you know, and I want to talk about those particular seats where you pointed out, whether it's in Jabalpur, whether it's in Indore or in other parts of the state, where BJP has not traditionally won, and the MPs who have been long-term MPs from these states, well-known faces in the national leadership, have been fielded in the assembly elections. Is this also some sense when you have a Rakesh Singh contested from Jabalpur, one of the constituencies where the BJP has not won in the last couple of terms, trying to create a contest within that, look, anybody could be the chief ministerial face, so perhaps everybody needs to pitch in, and this close contest, who knows what might make a difference?
Absolutely. I think that is the BJP's idea. In fact, one senior BJP leader told me that this will prove to be the masterstroke in the Madhya Pradesh election. Now, all the 7 leaders are in this kind of an internal healthy competition, that who will deliver more, not just the seat they are contesting. So if Rakesh Singh is the MP from Jabalpur, he is maybe contesting Jabalpur West, but there's also this responsibility to him to deliver the other Jabalpur seats. Similarly, Narendra Singh Tomar is the MP from Morena, he is contesting from Dimni, but there's also the responsibility on Tomar that how many seats will he deliver from the Gwalior-Chambal region. Similarly with Kailash Vijayvargiya from Indore, for example. So that is this healthy competition that the BJP's calculation had, that these 7 MPs could bring them maybe 7 to 8 to 10 extra seats in this election, which the BJP has not won in the past. So that could be, they feel, maybe the difference maker, and because everybody is also in this healthy competition, that whoever delivers more might become the chief minister.
Absolutely. Mr. PKD Nambiar, Mr. Sanjeev Srivastava, coming to both of you, there is something that Mr. Kamal Nath has got right, and that is the narrative. He's been able to pitch himself as centre-right, hobnobbing with the religious leaders, ensuring that the narrative is well in line with what is palatable to the electorate at large. Hindutva vote bank politics in the state of Madhya Pradesh is an old phenomena. It predates 2 to 3 decades, and it is one of the strongest stuffs of the Sangh Parivar. If you look at historically, the fact that Kamal Nath has been able to strike the chord right is one of the biggest challenges for Shivraj Singh Chouhan and also for the BJP. Mr. Nambiar, first to you.
Well, I think that this was the case about 3 months back. There was definitely some kind of an anti-incumbency, or some, others were talking about some amount of fatigue. 20 years is a long time in politics. You're seeing the same face, but there is a drastic change which has taken place in the last 1 month, and what you're seeing on your screen right now, even if it is, this is the truth of the how committed is the people of Madhya Pradesh is towards the BJP. And believe me that there has always been a very tight fight between, Congress has always been a strong party in the Madhya Pradesh, but they always have chosen BJP as their primary party, except in the 2018, the last election. And finally, it became BJP government. So I think there is a huge change. We are today discussing very less of caste, religion, and etc. But rather than that, we are talking about women empowerment. And I'll tell you that every woman empowered, empowering a woman means you are empowering a family. The kids will be getting educated. I think the strategy of the Ladli Behna scheme is something like a master stroke, not from the point of view of election or political, but from the point of view of social welfare scheme or to uplift the people. In fact, I was seeing a lot of interviews, even in your own channel, that your reporters were going and talking to the woman. Everybody was saying that they have been receiving this money from so long. So I think there is a cadre-based party, a long time in power, so many chief ministers it has provided for the state. So of course it got its own strong vote bank. Plus the women voters are going to bless the BJP. I believe that it is a tight competition, but at the end of it, it's an advantage BJP.
Let's see. It's only on the counting day we will know. It has been a very, very small margin. Mr. Sanjeev Srivastava, I reiterate that question to you for your views on this matter. Something that the Congress party got right, or is there something that Mr. Kamal Nath got right? Because the political discourse, the manner in which the narrative went during the election season was in control of the Congress party. And I did not see an occasion where it slipped out of the hands of Mr. Kamal Nath. He was very careful about the manner in which he was reaching out to the electorate, to various religious leaders who hold a lot of importance in a deeply religious state like Madhya Pradesh.
I think I'll pick up from the last point Mr. Nambiar was making, that I think the election will be decided. One of the factors will be the last mile conversion, where BJP has traditionally been a notch or two or maybe more ahead of the Congress party. So this is where the final push and the workers' ability to draw out people and supporters to the polling booths, all that from now onwards will be advantage BJP.
Yes.
So the Congress can only win if the people are genuinely in the mood to throw out a BJP government. Otherwise, it's very difficult to defeat the BJP in a state like MP, which has been, like you were mentioning in your intro comments, Anusha, it has been one of the strongest footholds or fortresses of Hindutva and RSS, even before Gujarat, MP was there.
Yes.
So, having said that, Kamal Nath is somebody who I see as an enigma of sorts in the politics. How he has managed to retain Chhindwara for all these successive Lok Sabha elections is by itself some kind of a testimony to his hold amongst at least his constituents. But with all respects to him and the Congress party, if you have a 64-year-old Shivraj Singh Chouhan being combated, or his main opponent is a 77-year-old Kamal Nath. So where age has its own benefits in Indian politics, Siddaramaiah is amongst the latest beneficiaries. But I, for one, can never figure out how can someone like a Kamal Nath be such a major factor in terms of enthusing voters, rallying troops, marshalling them into a battle. So that's amazing. So Kamal Nath,
I think Mr. Airwar should also get a word on this. Mr. Airwar, I began by asking that, there's something that Mr. Kamal Nath has got right, because the narrative seemed to be in control. My colleagues Aman, Pallavi, everyone who's traveled to Madhya Pradesh tells that it's a close contest, and Mr. Kamal Nath has been able to challenge Shivraj Singh Chouhan and the BJP on multiple accounts. What is it that he got right? And I ask you this question with a caveat that there are multiple issues on which there was a stark difference in the position that the central leadership of the Congress party took versus the position that Mr. Kamal Nath was taking. He was also seen hobnobbing with certain religious leaders with whom the Congress central leadership may not be very comfortable with. He was different from the central leadership on multiple accounts, and that seems to have worked for him.
See, I would start with the term that many people have used for Madhya Pradesh, that it was the strongest foothold of RSS in the longest time. People were saying that. So in 2018, we had defeated BJP in the strongest foothold of RSS. This was done by Kamal Nath ji and his strategy, because he knows the pulse of the people. He knows which direction he has to go in, and he knows in a discussion which is going nowhere to a point wherein it connects with the people. So this is our manifesto, madam. He had launched it 1 month before the elections. BJP has just recently launched it. This flagship newsletter that we're talking about, it was Kamal Nath ji who had announced 1,500 rupees monthly for women, and BJP didn't see anything in competition to that. That's why they started this scheme on 10th of June 2023.
You're
and we have this scheme in place in all the states that we are ruling. And Yes, and everything that they have released in their manifesto 2 days back, it is a copy, it is a cut paste copy of our manifesto, and we are doing it in every state that we are ruling, and that's why people believe that we are going to do it for a span of 5 years. BJP only as an election swap because they are not giving this money to any of the other states that they are ruling in, whether it is Uttar Pradesh or it is Gujarat. So the people know it very well that if BJP comes into power again, they are going to stop it. If Congress party...
But I also asked you a question about the differences between Mr. Kamal Nath and the central leadership. You didn't answer that point.
That's for me.
Kamal Nath ji works closely in coordination with the Kamal Nath ji works in close coordination with the central leadership. But I would say it is a comparatively easy fight when it comes to media management and the perception that has to be made. When there are lots of media groups which are against the Congress party, it is a very difficult job to cater to. But Kamal Nath ji has been able to properly manage the media, at least at Madhya Pradesh level, I would say that.
All right, so you have not really answered my question on the merits, but that's all right. Mr. Varakan, cut, copy, paste job, that's what BJP has done. You don't have anything new or innovative to offer. You looked at the manifesto of the Congress party and literally copied it. That's what has been said by the Congress spokesperson. Respond to that, sir.
I will go a step further. I know Kamal Nath ji very closely. I worked with him. And he has made confessions and he's been a past master at bluffing people. And his constituency, Chindwara, has been a victim of this kind of situation. Especially now.
He has won it 9 times, sir. He has won it 9 times.
Mr. Agarwal, let him make his point. Nobody interrupted you. Let's not interrupt Mr. Varakan. Mr. Varakan, make your point.
Please be respectful to Kamal Nath ji. That's my request.
No, he's making his point. I don't think there's a personal jibe there. But make your point, Mr. Varakan.
No, if he was in Congress, I didn't mention it. If he's saying that he knows Kamal
Nath ji. All right,
one at
a time. Let the BJP. No. Let the BJP make its point. I'll come back to the Congress party. Mr. Varakan.
When he told me personally that, look, I have ordered trucks and trucks of bricks and I've told the people that I'm going to build a temple of the bricks that came from Ayodhya. And he was laughing at it. You see, he's such a past master.
It is probably some leader of BJP you're talking about, Mr. Varakan.
You just wait. You just wait for what's happening. Digvijay knows how far Kamal Nath can run. So the reality is they are a split situation. They've got connection. The Hindutva card is being played.
Please come to issues.
People are not buying it.
You're doing the same mistake, going to the religion part.
All right, one at a time. Mr. Varakan has made his point.
Mr.
Agarwal, a quick response from you, then I go back to Aman Sharma.
I'm not going to hear those baseless claims, ma'am. With all due respect to everyone.
No, I mean, you have a right to say that they are baseless. And we as a channel don't endorse anecdotal accounts which are coming on national television. I think any person who makes those anecdotal accounts on a public platform is responsible for themselves. Mr. Varakan, with his seniority and leadership, has made a point that he has. I'm giving you the opportunity to respond, Mr. Agarwal, in all fairness. Please go ahead.
So, Mr. Tom Varakan is doing what exactly Bharatiya Janata Party must not be doing, especially in Madhya Pradesh, because if we go any path that doesn't concern the public of Madhya Pradesh, they are going to give it back to you. They have given it back to you in 2018. They're going to give it back to you in 2023. That is the precise reason. Kamal Nath ji, we believe in his work and he is a CM candidate. Why don't you have... Why don't you interest Shivraj Chouhan? Why don't you announce him as the CM candidate? Why don't you have a CM candidate in Madhya Pradesh, sir? Why are you not confident of your work in Madhya Pradesh? Why are you not confident of Shivraj Singh Chouhan's work in Madhya Pradesh?
Mr. Varakan, let me make this point. Mr. Varakan, I'll come back to you.
I'm just giving him
I'll come back to you, sir. Mr. Agarwal, finish.
I can also say that Mr. Varakan, when he was in Congress, I met him once and he was saying that Indian people are fool.
I don't think really it adds any richness to our discussion. It's not adding any richness to our discussion. I want to go back to Aman Sharma. I'm taking a point from him as well. Aman, there's a roadshow happening in Indore, and I think one of the key points on which the two gentlemen on our show from the BJP and Congress entered into a heated war of word is the Chief Minister phase. Kamalnath versus who? Because Shivraj Singh Chouhan has not been pitched as the key face or the chief minister contender. Do you think that's going to be an important factor? These are times when people want to vote for certainty, a certain kind of face. People also know, the voters are very smart to know the difference between a national election versus a state election. And the fact that there is no clear chief ministerial face, does that impact the prospects of the BJP?
Well, Anusha, I would point to the two slogans that the party has, the two parties have. BJP says MP ke man mein Modi hai, and you see this poster where Mr. Modi is there with around 8 or 9 other leaders on his side. That is the BJP poster. The Congress poster is Congress MP mange Kamalnath, and there's only Mr. Kamalnath's picture there. So in fact, when I interviewed Mr. Kamalnath, I asked him this question that आपकी party में तो कोई problem ही नहीं है आप, so he is the only face. He said no, the people will decide. But Congress has this distinct advantage in this election that there is no challenge that if the Congress wins, it will be Mr. Kamalnath who will be the chief minister. There is no Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia now who's moved to the BJP camp. So the Congress leadership question, so there is no infighting in the Congress camp. Even Mr. Digvijay Singh says that Mr. Kamalnath will be the chief minister, and Kamalnath is 76, so this is probably his last election where he's making this last pitch to become the chief minister. On the BJP's side, so when I asked Mr. Kamalnath interestingly said that why is the BJP shy and hesitant to name Mr. Shivraj Singh Chouhan as their chief ministerial face when he's already the incumbent chief minister. He said Mr. Shivraj is doing 10 to 12 rallies daily. Despite that, the BJP is not declaring him as the chief ministerial face. On the other hand, you speak to BJP leaders, there seems to be a strategy that, okay, we will not declare Mr. Shivraj Singh Chouhan as the CM face because obviously there is some lethargy, but we will go with under collective leadership. And once the party wins, if the party wins the election, then the BJP is essentially telling the people, you trust Mr. Modi. Vote on the face of Mr. Modi. Trust Mr. Modi to select a CM in Madhya Pradesh, and if you select a CM, if you elect the BJP in Madhya Pradesh, Mr. Modi will also become the Prime Minister in 2024. That is what Mr. Amit Shah has been clearly saying in his rallies, कि मोदी को 2024 में दोबारा प्रधानमंत्री बनाना है, तो MP में मध्य प्रदेश में BJP को लाना है. So that is the clear pitch from the BJP, and I think Kamalnath from the Congress is very clear that if Congress wins, Kamalnath will be the Chief Minister.